watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for the news at noon. I'm Mark Hall. The clouds, well, they're starting to clear out. Meteorologist Damon Matson joins us with the latest check on the forecast. Damon, will that mean we're going to see a little bit more sunshine today?
Finally so, Mark, yes. And for some parts of the DMV, it's not just the clouds that are clearing out of here. It was another noisy evening in parts of the area last night as we did deal with additional showers and some intense thunderstorms. But we can clearly see where most of the activity was. It was off to the north and west. Not much really happening other than that cloud cover that was pesky right around the district, but select few of us, we did see a good batch of strong storms down towards central Virginia near Culpeper, and then as you head up toward Frederick, Washington, Hampshire counties, heavy rain from these slow-moving storms dropped 1 to 2 inches of additional rainfall last night, and of course a few of these storms too on the strong to severe side, one of those prompting a tornado warning in Hampshire County once again. So all in all, yes, we are done with this main batch of activity as things continue to clear out with a cold front slowly but surely pushing off of the East Coast as we head later in the day today. And being that being the case, we will continue to see a little bit more sunshine here throughout the rest of this Tuesday with that front just ever so slowly clearing out of the picture. So that's something we can look forward to. There is that front. It is slowly pushing up across Delaware, New Jersey, and looking in behind it there, we have a lot of sunshine starting to fill in. Now, as we head toward the middle of the week, will this added sunshine mean a bump up in temperatures? We'll have a full look at your forecast coming up here in just a bit.
You're tough on your masks and your fatigues with your weapons, but how do you feel on the inside?
Well, tensions continue in Los Angeles as protesters square off with police and the National Guard. That man speaking to National Guard troops after mass protests broke out over increased immigration enforcement. President sending 4,000 members of the National Guard, and the Pentagon says it's deploying 700 Marines. California Governor Gavin Newsom among the many speaking out against the deployment of military troops, arguing that it only escalates tensions. Well, since Friday, protesters have been loudly speaking out against ICE raids in the area, taking control of streets and holding protests outside of immigration detention facilities. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass says that she's against the ICE raids, but hates to see how severe the protests have gotten.
Can't emphasize enough the level of fear and terror that is in Angelenos right now, not knowing if tomorrow or tonight it might be where they live, it might be their workplace. It infuriated me, but it also just saddened me to drive through downtown right now and to see the level of obscene graffiti all over buildings.
Well, video shows that several journalists covering the protests have been attacked by law enforcement. An Australian reporter was shot in the leg by a rubber bullet, and a British photographer was hospitalized after being hit by a plastic bullet as well. Over the past few years, thousands of Afghan refugees have come to the D.C. area, but Afghanistan is now on President Trump's travel ban list, and the decision is weighing heavy on the minds of those already in our area. The ban went into effect yesterday, and the U.S. is still making exceptions by issuing special immigrant visas for those who've worked with the U.S. government. But there are significant concerns for people who did not come with their families during the evacuation of Afghanistan back in 2021. We went to the Afghan market in Alexandria to find out how people are feeling.
You compare Afghanistan to United States, it means like you compare hell to paradise. The bad and good now, the immigrants, they're getting mixed with each other, so it's kind of difficult to separate them.
And most people we spoke to say they're disappointed about the ban, and they're worried about those who have family here but are still in the Middle East. In the district, law enforcement beefing up security around the National Mall in preparation for Saturday's military parade to celebrate the Army's 250th birthday. Now, the event, which coincides with President Trump's 79th birthday, is set to bring hundreds of thousands of people to the area. Our Candace Cole has more from Lafayette Square Park.
Well, law enforcement is actually coordinating security for two separate events. The first being the festival celebrating the Army's 250th birthday, followed by the actual parade itself taking place at 6:30 that evening. Part of those efforts include putting up fencing like what you see here around Lafayette Square Park, and also the bike racks that you can also see in there. The Secret Service says it's bringing in agents from across the country to secure the areas around the White House, the National Mall, and the parade route along Constitution Avenue, as more than 200,000 people are expected to turn out for these events. Now, those areas will be blocked off with miles of fencing, and there's a map showing the different areas that will be blocked to foot traffic and also road closures. There will also be magnetometers put in place at different checkpoints throughout the vicinity for the festival and the parade.
On the ground, we're taking proactive steps to reinforce the area. You will see 18.5 miles of anti-scale fencing, 17 miles of bike rack, concrete barriers, 175 magnetometers, and officers from federal, state, and local agencies standing post. You may also notice multiple drones operating in the area.
Now, those extra security barriers and the magnetometers will be up for at least a week. They're expected to be taken down by the 19th. But the other thing to mention here is that Secret Service says there are at least 9 other counter protests set to take place that same day. So far, they haven't mentioned that they expect there to be any problems to arise from them, but they will have folks on the ground. If you'd like to get more information on Saturday's security protocols, you can head on over to mpdc.dc.gov. Reporting from Lafayette Square Park, Candace Cole, DC News Now.
Candace, thank you. A man is dead after being shot by a Howard County police officer. Happened last night near Carter's Lane in Columbia. Police were originally called to the scene by a man who said that he was stabbed by one of his family members. When they arrived, police say that they saw the suspect armed with a large spear. According to police, that's when he approached police and refused to drop the spear. The suspect was then shot. He died at the scene. Family member who was stabbed is in critical condition. The Attorney General's office is taking over this investigation. Violence in the district continues. 7 people shot at 3 different locations within hours of each other in Northeast. One was a quadruple shooting where 1 man was killed. That shooting happening yesterday afternoon on Mount Olivet Road. Police say that 3 other people got out of a car, opened fire, then drove away. 4 people were shot. Investigators say that 1 man died, 3 others were rushed to a hospital.
But in the heat of the argument, whatever it is about, they introduce a gun into the equation and they fire, and it's irresponsible. And so we certainly understand the community's concerns.
Yeah, investigators still looking for the suspects, but earlier yesterday morning, there were 2 other shootings on Benning Road. One incident left 1 man hurt. Then an hour and a half later, 2 men were injured in a separate shooting. Investigators are looking into if all 3 incidents are connected. And a warning for rail riders: federal budget cuts for Amtrak could impact your commute. Transportation officials say that they're cutting the budget for the Northeast Corridor by 25% to $850 million. Well, that route connects D.C. with New York City and Boston. Amtrak says that losing the funding will put future projects at risk. And we're continuing to help you stretch your dollar if you're in the market for a new home. The high interest rates on mortgages are keeping many people on the sidelines. But here in the DMV, the changing job market is shaking things up for families. Our Haley Milan takes a closer look.
Sellers looking to make an impression without breaking the bank can set their homes apart with some small projects. The National Association of Realtors conducted a study to find what improvements actually bring the most value to your home.
Many DMV area residents have to do a full 5 days in the office, and so that's meeting some relocation that is happening.
More homes are hitting the market, so what actually boosts home value? And what improvements can you skip? Jessica Louts of the National Association of Realtors has those answers. First,
the curb appeal when you pull up.
That means landscaping, a fresh coat of paint on the door and shutters, even power washing, all DIY friendly upgrades. New windows? Nice, but expensive. Second, a full repaint.
Thinking about painting, that certainly can be a group activity in a house. May not actually need a contractor for.
Stick to one color. It keeps costs down and helps buyers see a blank slate. Third, keep it simple. Declutter. And ditch the bold decor. Many agents will help with staging or even cover the cost for you. Now, what not to do?
A kitchen is a very expensive project to take on and very messy and very time consuming.
Kitchens are personal. Buyers may want to start from scratch anyway. If your HVAC or major appliances are aging, offer a credit instead of replacing them. That gives buyers a little more flexibility. But if you must upgrade something, look to shop the 4th of July or Labor Day sales, where you'll find discounts as high as 50% off.
And we've got more on how you can save on those home improvements over on DCNewsNow.com. Keyword search stretch your dollar. I'm Haley Milon. Back to you.
All right, Haley, thank you. Summer is here and school is out, so we're helping you stretch your dollar. If you're looking for an affordable family activity this summer, Regal is offering $1 movie tickets to the first show on Tuesdays and Wednesdays as part of Regal's Summer Movie Express running from June to August. The lineup includes family favorites like Sonic the Hedgehog, Paw Patrol the movie, and Despicable Me. And Regal Cinemas says that a portion of each ticket benefits the Boys and Girls Club of America and the Will Rogers Motion Picture Pioneers Foundation. Well, big news from the Washington Capitals. Fan favorite TJ Oshie making a major announcement Monday. The star announced that he's retiring. Oshie spent 17 years in the NHL, and he joined the Capitals in 2015 in a trade with the St. Louis Blues. And you may recall he helped the Caps win that old Stanley Cup back in 2018. Well, speaking at the Georgetown waterfront, Oshie announced that he's hanging up his skates.
The moment my skates touched the ice, I gave you everything I had. With that, after 17 years in the NHL, I'd like to officially announce my retirement. Thank you.
Oshie's 76 power play goals in D.C. are the 5th most in franchise history. He scored 49 times in the shootout, tied for 3rd all-time since it was implemented back in 2005. Congratulations to him.